Hello and welcome to Odds Serie A match day 13. We have Roma on top of the table. I have to say, Leo, I'm very happy to say that after so many years, like a Giallorossi supporter, and we have Derby del Sole. So Roma Napoli this Sunday. We had an incredible, I would say, Derby della Madonnina, incredible because Inter should have gotten at least a draw, I guess, but 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐵 is a great footballer, a decisive player.
Yeah, absolutely, Edu, and it has not been the first time that he saved the Milan in San Siro when the game was 1-0, and with the penalty he ended up giving the 3 points to Milan. Massive win in the derby. There is no country, there's no league in Europe which better names for their derbies as in Italy. Derby della Madonnina, now Derby del Sole. I love those names.
They are the experts of marketing, Leo, you know, they made in Italy, no matter what they are selling, clothes, wine, olive oil, food, they are the masters of marketing. We have to give that to the Italians. Coffee, of course, and once upon a time, football in the 2000s, probably in the 90s, it was also football, but now is not, they are not in their best. Well, let's analyze Serie A. Let me know, guys, which is your favorite derby in Italy? Tell me, for instance, in the comments. Of course, press the like, subscribe, and now let's go on with the show. And we start with an interesting game on Friday, Leo. 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐵 Sassuolo, because we have 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐵 in European spots. They are ahead of Juventus after smashing Torino in their home ground with 𝐶𝐞𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐵 now. By the way, linked to Real Madrid, of course, he is part of Real Madrid. So with the buy clause or the rebuy clause probably to be effective as early as in January or next season in June. Is only one defeat for 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐵, but also impressive Sassuolo, great return for them in Serie A. They drew with Pisa, rescuing 1 point in the very last minute.
Yes, Edu, and to be honest, when you were mentioning the 𝐶𝐞𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐵 situation, I think it kind of like override, the talk of Real Madrid getting 𝐶𝐞𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐵 out of 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐵, that amazing win, the thrashing away from home in Turin, 5-1 against Torino. But the first thing to say with that, Edu, is that 𝐶𝐞𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐵 will be a Real Madrid player, but it's going to happen in June. It's not going to happen now in January. He scored the fourth goal of the season for him on Monday. He has already 9 goal involvements, 5 goals, and 4 assists. In a common side with many high points. Actually, he wasn't even the MVP against Torino. Jesus Rodriguez was fantastic. Maxi Perrone at the core of midfield did very well. He also gave 2 assists. It was a great night for 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐵, calm in possession, aggressive without the ball. They're increasingly difficult to break down. They have doubled the points of last season at this same stage. To find a better league start for 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐵, you have to go back to 1949, 1950. Since the March international break, they lost only 2 of their 21 league games, fewer than any other side in Serie A. I know that many will look at the 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐵 as the most important stat at the moment, but I prefer the stat that shows you how many passes teams allow before making a defensive action. That be a tackle, a block, a foul or something. So the less passes you allow your opposition, it means that you are pressing intensely. Well, 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐵 allows only 7.8 passes to the opposition before making a defensive action. That is not just the lowest number in Italy, but it's the lowest in 5 top European leagues. So that tells you a lot about 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐵. They only defeat this season, Matchday 2 against Bologna. They faced Sassuolo already in Coppa Italia, and 𝐿𝐵𝐴 won 3-0. At home is 3 wins and 3 draws for 𝐿𝐵𝐴. And Sassuolo away, anyway, they haven't done bad at all. 3 wins in their 5 games. The last 2 on the road, they won against Cagliari, and then they trashed Atalanta. On Monday, they rescued a massive point against Pisa to stay 9 points from the red zone. Como the favorite here, the odds are fine for me, and I will take them 𝐿𝐵𝐺𝐻 to win 1.65.
Let's go to the games on Saturday. Genoa, Verona. This is important for the relegation. Relegation 6-pointer. Verona losing again to Parma, looking really bad. Both teams are in relegation, Leo, but the trajectories, I think, are different. Genoa much more positive. No defeat since Patrick Vieira left, and now with De Rossi got a draw against Cagliari, a draw against Fiorentina, and the win with Sassuolo was with the caretaker, but looking much better, Genoa.
Yes, and to be honest, I was not expecting that Daniele De Rossi was going to entertain us so much so quickly. His Genoa played the best game on Matchday 12 with that 3-3 against Cagliari in Sardinia. He's so far not making very much changes to the 3-5-2 left by Patrick Vieira. He's just changing the partner of Lorenzo Colombo in attack. Against Cagliari was the turn of Vitor Oliveira, and he scored actually the opening goal, assisted by Colombo. Then they combined again, and they could have made it 2-0 in the first half. But a point was at least what they deserved. They were 2 times on top on the scoreline, but still a point was fine for them away in Sardinia. Leo Bachanian, center back, scoring for the 3rd consecutive game for Genoa. And this team, at least so far with De Rossi, is showing that the non-negotiables that De Rossi had as a player, intensity, aggressivity, attacking intent, energy, well, all that Genoa so far is showing. And that's why I agree that they are arriving in a better shape than Verona, winless, losing 5 of their last 8. 2 of their last 3 games on the road were 6-pointers for Verona, and they drew both 0-0 against Pisa and Lecce. I do see as the book is Genoa's favorites here. My take X1, Genoa, Daniele De Rossi to win, Genoa to win 2.1.
Let's hope for it. Indeed, still the odds are kind of good. Another team in trouble is Parma, playing at home against Udinese, although the win in Verona is massive, now 3 points away from the relegation. Remember, they also drew with Milan when they were 2-0 down. Udinese lost to Bologna and to Roma without scoring.
Yes, Edu, and to be honest, it was a great win for Parma on Sunday. Matteo Pellegrini scoring the winning brace. Probably the 1-0 for Parma was a little bit against the run of play at that moment, but afterwards Parma dominated the game, and they deserved the 3 points in Verona. It was a great weekend for the Pellegrino family, because Mauricio Pellegrino, the ex-Valencia defender and captain, and the ex-assistant of Rafa Benitez, he won the Copa Sudamericana with Lanús in Argentina. So now his son is
Sampaoli.
Oh, yes, exactly, against Atlético Mineiro, Sampaoli. But I was happy. I can't stand Sampaoli.
Don't remove your medal when you are second.
But it does not surprise me with Sampaoli anyway. 4 goals this season for Pellegrino, and the rumors of him moving to Milan in January probably will just increase. And then Udinese, on the other hand, they saw that their mini positive run of 3 wins in the last 4 coming to an end with a heavy defeat against Bologna. Although the first half was still tied 0-0, they saved the penalty, but the second half was all Bologna. But still, I think they should stay with what they've seen in the first half, because they played relatively well, and in the second half, 2 of the 3 goals were like gifted in a way by Udinese, and like the manager talk of early Christmas gifts from his players. They have conceded anyway 20 goals already, Udinese. Not the team in the bottom 3 or even in the bottom 8 has conceded as many as Udinese. The bookies are pointing to a draw, but my take is going to be halfway that. First half draw, 2.14.
Let's go to the next game. We are going now to Juventus. Cagliari. I couldn't find the game. Juve Cagliari to Torino. Leo, saved by the bell, Juventus in Norway against Bodo Glimt, although they deserve much more, I have to say. The second half, they should have scored 4, 5, 6 goals, and at the end was Jonathan David scoring in the very last minute, 2-3 for Juventus after another draw against Fiorentina, also against Torino. Juventus 7th right now, and I guess they should get back-to-back wins if they beat Cagliari. Cagliari drawing the last 2 games, no wins since the 19th of September. I don't like the odds. I think are too low. Still, of course, Juventus should win here.
They should do, and probably Juventus supporters, they expect that Tuesday night could be a point when everything turns for the better in Juventus season, to have come away from the Arctic winning on added time, to get the first win in the Champions League this season was very good, and especially after that disappointing draw with Fiorentina last Saturday. They loved, I believe, as well, Juventus supporters, to see Jonathan David scoring the winning goal, his second in the season so far. That Openda also scored in the game. It was great to see 𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐿 having such a good second half. He started against La Viola, but Spalletti made few rotations on Tuesday. But Juventus number 10 needs to be on the pitch. You mentioned how many chances Juventus had, and those came especially in the second half when 𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐿 was there, and actually he started the move that ended in Jonathan Davis' goal. 7 points away from Roma. That's quite a lot now at the beginning of the season for Juve, out of European places. But yes, of course, lots to play. Still, the last time at home for Juventus was the goalless draw with Torino in the derby. In the first 3 matches at home in all competitions this season, they scored 10 goals, Juventus. In the next 5, they have scored only 5 goals at home, Juventus. But anyway, Cagliari is 8 games without a win, with 4 defeats in that run. On the road, it's just 1 win in 6, and that win was against Lecce. That's what my take here is Juventus to win, combined with goals over 1.5. Those two together, odds of 1.75.
Then let's go to the Milan-Lazio, the late kickoff on Saturday. Actually, these teams are going to meet again in Coppa Italia in a few days. Milan only 2 points away from Roma right now after the great win in the derby. I mentioned before, Mike Maignan made the difference, especially also because Handanovic, in my opinion, missed in the goal scored by Pulisic. This Milan is still work in progress, I think. Leo, ups and downs. Probably they didn't deserve that win in the derby. They dropped points also against Parma, against Pisa. I don't think they're a title contender, but still they are in a good position. And Lazio also growing, getting closer to the European spots. They lost 2-0 when they visited Inter in this stadium.
Yes, Edu, and to be honest, they are getting in some of the games, it's very clear, Milan more than they deserve. With Pisa, they were all over the place, and that they rescued a point. With Roma, the game could have finished 1-1, and Roma deserved at least a point, and Dybala missed a penalty or was saved by Maignan. With Inter, much of the same. But it's what it is. In the press conference, they were telling Max Allegri that his team Inter had 64% of possession, that they had 20 shots compared to Milan, and he was like saying like, I don't care, we won the game. And that's basically Allegri, and I think at the moment Milan's supporters are happy with that, especially when you compare and when you see from where are they coming. Milan from a terrible last season. I agree, I don't see them probably as a title contender, but a top 4 finish should be a very realistic chance for this Milan. 2 clear heroes, Pulisic and Maignan. Maignan can claim that 4 of the points that Milan has this season are because of him. Roma and now Inter. The expected goals prevented from him against Inter was 232. That's a lot, and tell us as well how the game played. And Christian Pulisic didn't want the Player of the Match award, insisting that it was right for Maignan to get it, but still, even if he's not 100% sharp, still Pulisic, after coming from injury, I would still say he's the best player for Milan in the last 2 years, and no doubt about it. Away from home, they tend to drop levels. I'm referring to Lazio because, yes, they got themselves some peace with their 2-0 at home against Lecce. 2 weeks ago, they already traveled to San Siro, you mentioned, and they lost 2-0 without a fight against Inter. I mentioned 𝗀𝗟𝗃 and Maignan, but it was great also for Allegri to have back Rabiot in midfield. We will have a French battle in midfield, Rabiot and 𝗀𝗏𝗏 who scored against Lecce. But my take here is Milan to win and Milan first team to score. These two together also 2.4.
Maignan or Dida, Leo?
Maignan.
Well, on Thursday...
I was never a big fan of Dida.
Yeah, me neither, actually. On Thursday, we have Lazio, Milan, in this case in the Olimpico, in the Coppa Italia. Now, for the relegation, Lecce, Torino, Lecce 2 points away from the bottom three after that defeat, as you mentioned, against Lazio. Torino, ugly defeat, 1-5 against 𝐿𝐵𝐺, although overall they were doing a good season and, they are favorites, still good odds, I would say, to back Torino. But if you are looking for a draw also, it's very likely that this game could be a draw.
Yes, and to be honest, I think that's one of the first things that comes to your mind when you read Lecce Torino. A draw and goals under as well. Or at least I believe the expectations go that way. Or there are some who may be thinking on Lecce to win after the disastrous Matchday 12 for Torino, but I wouldn't go that route anyway. This year, Maroni leaving a pitch after his team having conceded 5 was not the first time. It's nothing new. In March, he lost 5-0 against Bologna when he was managing Lazio. This season with Torino lost 5-0 against Inter in San Siro. Monday was 5-1 against 𝐿𝐵𝐺 at home. No team has conceded more than Torino's 21 goals this season. It's another season of mediocrity in a way for Torino. Another season for them drifting between the 13th and the 14th position to end up probably in the 10th position at the end of the season. I've seen many times already Baroni this season apologizing to Torino's supporters. It's difficult to comprehend the capitulation in the second half because, yes, they lost 5-1, but they went to halftime 1-1 with Nikola Vlasic scoring in the 40th minute. So actually they had the momentum after the break, and they got absolutely trashed in the second half. And Lecce 1 point above the red zone. It's like with them is 1 week in the red zone, another week they are 2 points above the red zone. After the defeat with Lazio, they are 2 points above Genoa, but could start the game with Torino already in relegation places if Genoa wins their game. My take here is draw, Edu. Draw, odds of 3.
The draw seems very likely indeed in this game. Next one is Pisa, Inter Milan. Inter, of course, super favorites, and I guess hurt after the defeat in the derby, after the defeat against Atlético de Madrid. Probably both are a bit cruel, but there is a pattern this season, Leo, and is losing the big games for this Inter. I think this lack of competitivity is very important, especially after losing all the final games last season with pretty much the same players. In Pisa, again, 2 points away from relegation outside the bottom 3. It should be a Nerazzurri win, or perhaps we can already talk about crisis with Inter.
Well, I think they should take the 3 points here. It's this kind of game that usually Inter, after a mini crisis, tend to win comfortably. But the debate around 𝐿𝐵𝐺, Inter, and the big games continue, Edu, after what happened in Madrid with Atletico, with Joseba scoring on added time, because the point was going to be a good result for Inter, with Zelensky equalizing in the second half, and that is going to be harsh for 𝐿𝐵𝐺, especially coming after the derby. Yes, a derby that they should not have lost. I said that they deserve at least a point against Milan, but results are what they are, and that is the truth. And so far, it's not the first time or the second time not even the third one, with Inter not being able to get results on big games as well. Let's remember how they lost against Juventus away as well on added time. If we were talking before about Mañan and how great he's been this season, is the other way around for Jan Sommer, who was someone who was pointed after the Derby de la Madonnina.
I said Handanovic. I said Handanovic before Jan Sommer.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But Jan Sommer, yes, he is. But the thing is, like, what they're gonna drop Sommer? You kill him mentally if you do that, and at the same time, if he's not Sommer, you have Joseph Martinez, which anyway is not gonna give you great guarantees neither. But it's true that probably Sommer is not in the talk of the best goalkeeper in Serie A. If you ask me best goalkeepers, I will be thinking of Mañan, Svilar in Roma, 𝗵𝐿-Savic in Napoli, Caprile in Cagliari, but it wouldn't come to my mind to say Sommer. And then this Pisa, after those 3 consecutive defeats in September, they lost now just one of their last 8 games, which is not a bad run at all. They lost for the minimum against Roma at home. They pushed Napoli away in a 3-2 defeat. They drew with Milan in San Siro. They drew with Lazio and Fiorentina at home. So the expectation is that they're going to compete, that they can compete, and this Pisa side. But again, I expect Inter to bounce back, because we have seen this, after a big game, when they cannot get the result or they cannot get points, then and minor rival, yes, we see the usual Inter. That's why my take here is Inter halftime, Inter full-time, odds of 1.91.
A tricky one is Atalanta Fiorentina. Very, very tricky one, I would say, with Fiorentina still looking for their first win, although I guess it was a positive. They got against Juventus, one of their biggest rivals. Atalanta got defeated in the debut of Palladino easily in Napoli. So two teams really struggling this season in Serie A. I don't know who are you backing here. At least Atalanta, Leo, got a very important win in the Champions.
Exactly. Absolutely, Edu, and because it was the worst possible debut for Palladino against Napoli on the weekend, or after 30 minutes, the game at the Diego Armando Maradona was already done for Atalanta. That first half, Atalanta did not know how to sort out Napoli's press. In the second half, I think it was a little bit more positive for them. The character, the reaction was different. They had chances even to make it 3-2, but they failed to capitalize. The second half also showed that to start the game with the false 9 was not a good idea for Palladino. Scamacca came on as a sub in the second half, and his presence seemed to transform the match. And then against Eintracht Frankfurt on Wednesday night, Palladino took away that idea of the false 9, and he played with a striker. And Atalanta did well to win away against Frankfurt, not conceding, and was a good debut in the Champions League for Palladino at the helm of Atalanta. But if Palladino will be desperate to win in Serie A with Atalanta, what to say about Paolo Manoni and Fiorentina? Probably, considering how Fiorentina was doing, the 1-1 with Juventus was not a bad result, even if they're still winless and bottom of the tree. A tricky one here, Edu. I want to go either X1 or X2. My take in this Atalanta-Fiorentina, both teams to score yes, odds of 1.86.
Well, and now the game of the weekend, Roma-Napoli. Roma top of the table. Roma supporters dreaming, why not? But of course, the goal is making it to the Champions League. Gasperini making another miracle with this Roma, with Sule now as a star. He scored again in Cremona, but Leo, also this season in the big games, it's true that they beat Lazio, but they lost to Inter and Milan, probably without deserving these two. They didn't play that bad. And Napoli, it was a very important win against Atalanta, also in the Champions League, but we know that the problem is when they are playing away this season. Napoli away already 3 defeats in Serie A.
Yes, absolutely, Edu. But we will see, because it's been a very good week so far for Napoli. Let's remember that before the break, they lost badly with Bologna, and even there was a speculation regarding Conte's future. During the international break for a week, he did not return to Napoli for training. He went to Turin and he stayed there for a week. So there was a lot of speculation, although De Laurentiis was denying that Conte was leaving, saying that was all nonsense. But also then there was this financial investigation into Napoli's books about players trading. So everything was not in the right place before they won against Atalanta. Then on the midweek winning against Karabakh 2-0, playing well and winning comfortably. They should have scored 3 or 4 at least. McTominay, again, resembling the player we got to know last season with Napoli. He scored against Karabakh, and he also led the team, the same that against Atalanta. It's very important because 𝐿𝐵𝐴, who was doing much better than McTominay this season, is, as we know, in the last week he's injured and he won't return before 2026. But if there is someone who can jeopardize this mini honeymoon of the last weekends for Napoli, that is Gasperini's Roma, no doubt. There was a picture going around in social media of a mural in the capital depicting Gasperini as a wizard preparing a magic potion, and that's what he is. I mean, Roma knew that only winning was going to restore them to the top, and they did emphatically against Cremonese. They were even upset that they conceded one at the end of the game. It was a game that's supposed to have finished for Roma winning 2-0. No one will deny that Gasperini took over a very good work of Claudio Ranieri, but the team is increasingly looking like a Gasperini team. We have started to see in the last month or so patterns of play that they are in the playbook of Gasperini. Like McTominay with Scotland, an amazing international break. Ivan Ferguson also returned recharged from the international break after securing playoffs with the Republic of Ireland, and he scored his first goal of the season in Serie A. But the most important for Roma is that they are top at this stage for the first time in the last 11 years. Difficult game to call because Roma at home is the 8th best team, and Napoli away is the 7th best away team. My take here is goal market, goals under 2.5, also 1.55.
The last game is Bologna-Cremonese. This one to be played on Monday. Bologna, of course, super favorites. Kind of a safe bet, I would say, 1.5, since Bologna are in great form, really close to the Champions League spots. Beat Udinese, beat Napoli without conceding, and Cremonese going down and down in the table as expected.
Yes, it's 3 consecutive defeats for Cremonese, 2 of them anyway against Juventus and Roma. But despite this negative run, they are still without having to look over the shoulders too much. Cremonese, probably, yes, this one should go Bologna all the way, and especially being Bologna at home. And Cremonese could see that the next 2 fixtures against Lecce and Torino should give them a little respite before they close 2025 with Napoli and Lazio. The question the last few days is if Bologna is a title contender or it's just European qualification, their maximum aspiration, a top 4 finish. Because at the moment they are playing some of the best football in Italy, and they're just 3 points behind the leaders. Amazing second half against Udinese, and they did it without their first choice goalkeeper. They did it without their best central defender, 𝐿𝐵𝐴. They traveled to Udinese without Freuler and Lewis Ferguson in midfield, and they missed a penalty as well when the game was 0-0. So many positives in the end for Bologna, who should win this game. And my take is Bologna to win combined with goals over 2.5. These two together, 3.1.
Well, Leo, this is it for our Serie A video. Remember, guys, we have available for you our tipster competitions where you can win some cash money and, of course, rivals. As I always tell you, This is the chance for you to play with your friends and win some money. Leo, let's finish the video. As always, safe bet.
Como Sassuolo goals over 1.5 odds of 1.30.
And the ACCA?
Como to win and goals over 1.5. Juventus to win and goals over 1.5. Bologna to win. These three together, odds of 5.43.
Okay, Leo, this is it for our video. Thanks everyone for watching. See you. Bye-bye.